Welcome everybody to today's webinar titled An Eventful Connection, Using Event Marketing to Build Relationships. My name is Tom Albers and I'm the President of Albers Communications Group. First, let me start by telling you a little bit about Albers Communications Group. We are a full-service PR and digital marketing agency headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska. We strongly believe that PR and digital marketing go hand in hand and work best when they are both used together as part of an integrated communication strategy. We represent clients in all 50 states and Canada where our PR and social media specialists help our clients achieve positive exposure nationally and locally in their operating markets. We have specialized expertise working with companies that have multiple locations. This can include franchise offices, branch offices, or retail locations located in multiple cities. I am Tom Albers, President of Albers Communications Group, and feel free after today's event to contact me directly with the contact information that you see on screen if you'd like to speak to me in more detail about events or other ways that we could help your company with your communications goals. It is my pleasure to speak with you, especially about special events, because I have always enjoyed event planning. In my public relations career, I have helped manage hundreds of events of all shapes and sizes, including outdoor concerts attended by 40,000 people, briefings on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., press conferences at the National Press Club, highway dedication ceremonies, grand openings of new businesses, and multiple web events as well. I was even fortunate enough several years ago to help stage the country's largest year-long celebration marking the 50th anniversary of the end of World War II that consisted of all sorts of events, including troop train rides, concerts, parades, and even mess hall dinners. So, in my career, I've really seen it all from an event perspective, and am pleased to be able to share some of those lessons that I've learned with you today. And feel free to offer your own suggestions or questions throughout today's presentation using the chat function, and we can interact that way. I always like to start with a roadmap, so here's a snapshot of what we'll be covering today. First, we'll take a look at the different business objectives you might be able to achieve through your special events. Next, what we want to do is examine the variety of events, because there are all sorts of events that you can consider to use in your business throughout the year for your communications and PR efforts. Successful events, in my mind, come down to having a solid plan in place. So we'll dissect the elements of an event plan. And finally, we will address the issues of evaluation and how to measure the success of your events. Again, if you do have any questions today, please feel free to chat those in using the chat function located in the lower left-hand portion of the screen, and I will address those questions at the end of the presentation. Now, in my mind, special events are just like any other communications or public relations activity. Before you jump headfirst into an event, let's take a step back and identify the objectives that we're trying to meet. In other words, I always like to start with the end in mind and identify specifically what you are trying to achieve with your event. Now, it is very possible that you might just have one overriding reason or objective for your event. For example, if your business is celebrating a key anniversary, such as your 10th year in business, and you decide to host a celebration to mark that occasion, then maybe your one key objective might be to strengthen relationships with clients and referral sources, and that's just fine. But in many cases with events, it's very likely that you will hit on several objectives. So it's important to commit those objectives to paper. Some of those objectives might include increasing your company's brand awareness or visibility. And certainly along those lines, that might include having specific objectives and goals to achieve positive news media exposure for your business. For several years, I helped manage a community concert and fireworks show that was sponsored by a large community bank that was a client of mine. And every year, we used the concert to accomplish several goals for us, but one of those goals was to achieve positive headlines for the bank through outreach to radio stations, TV stations, and the local daily newspaper. You might use educational events such as today's webinar to reinforce your expertise by sharing information with your clients and prospective clients. So shining a light on your expertise might be an objective for your particular events. Now, we've had clients use events such as hiring days and job fairs to attract prospective employees. So there might be a human resources component to your special event planning. Events can also be a great way to encourage positive behaviors that reinforce your brand. For example, one of the case studies that I've looked at that is one that sticks top of mind for this is Hidden Valley. They're the company that makes salad dressing, and they staged events to encourage school children to eat healthy school lunches. Well, why was that a benefit for Hidden Valley? Well, of course, they positioned their product, their salad dressing, as a key element for healthy school lunches. So you can encourage positive action and at the same time reinforce your brand. For many of our clients, special events often help them create goodwill in the community, so that could be one of your objectives. Really, my main point here is to just point out that the process should start by putting on paper and committing to paper your event planning objectives. Now let's take a look at some of the types of events that you might consider as part of your PR plan. Because as we go through some of these examples, there might be several of these that could apply to your particular business. Now, if you are planning to expand your business or open a new location, certainly you might consider recognizing that achievement with an event such as a ribbon cutting or an open house. Even before you begin construction, you might consider holding a groundbreaking ceremony. I've been involved in organizations that have expanded their presence, and we've been able to get several bites at the apple. So we'll have a ceremony to announce the fact that they're going to be building a new location and have a groundbreaking ceremony. And then when they actually open the facility, we have a ribbon cutting such as the one that you see on screen here. And one of the things that these events are good at is developing relationships and strengthening relationships for your business with other local business leaders. For instance, collaborate with the Chamber of Commerce. They're very willing to be involved in events like this. Also, collaborate with elected officials. You know, the mayor of your community or city council members or even senators, U.S. senators or state senators, very willing, if their schedule allows, to participate in these events. And it's a great way for them to learn about your business and for you to strengthen your relationships with these important people. We've had clients hold events for occurrences that include things such as expanding to new geographic service territories. For instance, if you're expanding to a new country, it might be good to hold an event to mark that occasion. If you're marking a significant milestone in your business, such maybe you're celebrating your 10th anniversary in business or your 25th anniversary in business, this could give you a reason to have an event in your community. Celebrating the career of a longtime employee who is retiring is sometimes a good occasion to have an event. And some of our clients actually hold annual celebrations such as holiday open houses. Events don't have to be huge to be successful events. You might consider hosting educational events in your community to share your expertise. Verizon Wireless is a client of ours, and they've had a lot of success hosting what they call wireless workshops. These are workshops for Verizon customers as well as for customers of other brands to come in and learn about their new smartphone or their new tablet. So it's a very effective way to provide education to the customer, but also encouraging them to use their products, their smartphones and tablets in new ways that they may have never thought of before. Another client of ours, P&L Technology, which provides B2B technology services, offers an ongoing series of web-based educational events on topics such as cloud computing and maximizing the capabilities of Microsoft 2013. And they found that having these ongoing web-based educational events have been a great way to not only strengthen the relationships with current clients, but they've actually created leads and generated leads from prospective clients. So it's been a great sales tactic for them. Now, just because the two examples I shared are technology-based companies, you don't have to be a technology company to host educational events. Home Depot, who employs a lot of military veterans, has great success with its educational workshops for veterans about preparing them for the civilian job market. You can see that's a win-win for Home Depot. They get great positive exposure for doing this, but they're also educating a potential workforce who makes great employees at their stores. So it's a great tactic that they use. Look for ways that you can share your expertise. Think about, dissect your business and the individuals in your business and their expertise, and you can probably create all sorts of ways that you can turn around and share that expertise with your clients and prospective clients. I'm going to shift a little bit and look at an event that might last more than a day. Sometimes it can be possible to build momentum around an observance that lasts for several weeks or even longer. Our client, Mary Meads, in fact, is getting ready to kick off their Heart Month observance in February. Now, this is a collaboration between Mary Meads and the American Heart Association to raise funds and awareness that heart disease is the #1 killer of women. This is an important cause for Mary Meads because their core customer is women between the ages of 35 and 64. Now, some of the things that Mary Meads is doing to commemorate the month include things such as encouraging their team members to go red for the month by wearing red shirts and pins during Heart Month. And also, Mary Meads will be leaving red coin banks in their customers' home for their clients to leave spare change in their coin banks to donate to the American Heart Association. They're also going red in a social media way by changing all of their Facebook cover images to red and also turning their website from corporate green to red. So there are ways to really carry through themes like this even in your web space and your social media space. Another example of a commemorative type of an event that lasts longer than a day is our client Homestead Senior Care. They had a very successful campaign in 2013 in recognition of World Alzheimer's Month, which is in September. And during the month, Homestead franchises from all over the world hosted workshops in their communities for families who are caring for loved ones with Alzheimer's. Depending on your industry, there might be commemorative weeks or months that you can tie into, just like Mary Meads is doing with February and Homestead Senior Care did with the month of September. Now, the event doesn't have to last a long time to be effective. One of our clients, Farmers National Company, recently incorporated a community service project into its employees' annual meeting. What happened was all the employees were gathered for the annual meeting, and for part of the day, the employees took part in a team building activity where they assembled stuffed bears that were then donated to local first responders. So they actually had a ceremony where the first responders came out and accepted the donation. And of course, the first responders are going to be handing out these bears in the community to children in need. This event took place over just part of a day, so it wasn't a huge time commitment, but it did lead to great exposure for the company and was a great special event that they were able to incorporate into an existing event. You might consider similar cause marketing or community service events for your business. Awards ceremonies or events can be great ways to recognize your employees or even individuals in the community. The photo on screen is from an event that we held for one of our clients to recognize the outstanding oldest worker in America. So this was an award that our client bestowed upon one individual, and this particular story attracted the attention of elected officials, U.S. senators, the governor of the state. They all attended the event, as well as the media was interested in this story. In fact, this story made it on the Today Show. So this was a great opportunity to recognize an individual in the community, but also to help build exposure for our client who provides jobs training for older workers. So you might give some thought to awards that your company could bestow either internally or to external individuals. Earlier I mentioned that events can serve as a motivation to encourage positive action. You could do this through events that engage the community. The upper left photo represents an event that some homestead senior care franchise owners have done in collaboration with local law enforcement. They call the event Mission Medicine, and what we do in this event is we are encouraging seniors and their families to clean out their medicine cabinets because many seniors have expired medications on hand. And if you have expired medications, of course, this can pose safety problems. And so this is encouraging positive behavior, creating great positive relationships with the community, including the law enforcement officials that we partner with, and creating visibility for homestead senior care. So as I mentioned, objectives for events, this type of an event hits on several different objectives. Now in the lower right-hand corner, we have a photo from an event that is done by one of our Merry Maids clients that we work with. And we call this event Give with a Merry Heart. And this Merry Maids office encourages their clients to spring clean by clearing out their closets of unneeded clothing items. And in turn, we donate these clothing items to a local homeless shelter. So again, accomplishing several objectives here. Not only are we providing something for our clients in a positive action where they're able to clean out their closets and make a donation to a nonprofit organization, but we're also able to create some good visibility for our client in the community. Now let's shift gears and look at the key elements of a successful event plan. Now I firmly believe that a solid event checklist serves as the foundation for any great event. So at the beginning of your event, do a brainstorming session. Call your team in and try to think of all the different logistical things that should be on your checklist. Now, I usually organize my checklist like we show on screen here. I usually have a column for our key activities. I usually have a column for who's responsible for that activity or action item, and then what's our completion deadline. If you follow this format, this will be a great management tool to help manage all of the activities of the event. And just take time over the course of planning your event to visit this checklist, because undoubtedly I found, in doing all the events that I've done, over time you'll add to this list because it's something that's really a living document, and there might be things that come up that you need to continually add and tweak the list. Now other elements of your event plan include, of course, the budget. Now while you are creating the event checklist that we just talked about, I would suggest that you create a budget that includes every item in your checklist. I also suggest creating a contingency in your budget of about 5 to 10% of your overall budget to cover unforeseen costs, because with an event there are always things that come up that you would like to do. It could be signage that you want to have produced for the event, or maybe it's a giveaway that you've decided to make as a part of the event. So include a contingency in your overall budget. When determining the timing of your event, consider what else is going on in your community in order to avoid major conflicts. Also, if you are having an event that takes place on one day, consider holding it between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to increase the chances that the news media will cover it, because those are ordinarily, especially during weekdays, those are ordinarily the good time frames, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to get the media out to your event. When you're talking about audiences to reach, make sure and cast a wide net when developing your list of audiences that you can reach with your event. Consider internal audiences such as staff members, your clients and suppliers, but also consider external audiences such as referral sources, prospective clients, elected officials that I mentioned earlier, and of course the community at large. Now give ample thought to your event registration strategy, because one of your objectives might be to build your email marketing database. And if this is the case, give some thought to how you might do this and create ways that will drive people to your web properties to register for your events. Because really, events are all about developing relationships and expanding your touch points in your community. And so collecting information from your event attendees, especially through the registration process, can allow you to stay in contact with them throughout the year. This is something that often goes overlooked, but don't forget to plan for professional photography and videography, because I know it makes a great impression on your guest if you share professional photography with them after the event. It's really a way to keep the event alive even after the specific date of the event. Now, the agenda of your event is an important aspect that is often overlooked as well. Now, for an event that takes place on one day, such as a grand opening, your agenda should take into consideration things such as who will be speaking at the event and when. Will you have entertainment, such as live music? What kind of AV equipment do you need? And what kind of food and refreshments will you serve? So these are all of the sorts of nitty-gritty details that you need to consider when you're planning an event and planning for your budget as well. Now, if your event is an observance that stretches over several days or weeks, your agenda should map out the timing of each of the individual elements of your event. My advice is leave nothing to chance and commit it to paper. Now, in your event plan, you need to include how you will promote your event before, during, and after the execution of the event. My suggestion is cast a wide net. Utilize all available channels to promote the event, including all four types of media. And those types of media are earned media, owned media, shared media, and paid media. Now, with earned media, this means letting the news outlets in your community, such as radio stations, TV stations, and newspapers, know about the event details. They will often provide coverage after the event too, so keep that in mind as well. And there are several different types of communications tools that you can use to keep in contact with the media, and I'm going to cover some of those that we use in our practice. One of those tools with an event is called a community calendar announcement, and this is typically just a very brief written document that contains the facts about your event, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, the how. And you usually want to send out a community calendar announcement to your media at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance of your event. Another tool we often use is the media advisory. A media advisory really serves as an invitation for your media to actually come out and cover the event. And you don't need so much lead time with a media advisory. You can send it out maybe 3 or 4 days in advance of your event. Now, a press release, I know everybody on the phone is familiar with a press release. It's similar to the community calendar announcement that I spoke to earlier, and it can be used to provide the media with the important details before the event, but also after the event. So after you've had a successful event, think in terms of maybe you want to push out a press release and send a photograph along with it from the event itself to your media. We also use, in a lot of cases, media pitches in our practice, and these are usually used with TV producers, and they're typically short emails directed specifically at TV producers to schedule media interviews before the event. It's very similar to the photograph on screen. This is one of our clients that was on TV in December talking about one of their events. And lead time for these type of opportunities is important. You want to contact TV shows about 4 weeks in advance. But no matter what tool you use to contact the media, be sure and follow up with the media via phone. Media relations is a contact sport, and so it's important to not only send information to the media electronically via email, but also pick the phone up, have conversations with them to make sure that they understand all of the details about your event. Don't forget in your promotion your owned media channels. These include things such as your email newsletters, hard copy mailings such as invitations, and of course your website. To use shared or social media to promote your events. And these include creating a Facebook event that serves as a social media invitation. You can also post about the event before it happens on your social media, Twitter, Facebook, and you can tweet about the event in real time as it is happening and post photos and videos after the event. So there are multiple ways that you can use the social or shared media space to promote your event. Now, keep in mind also paid advertising. Depending on the nature of your event, you might want to include some paid advertising to not only increase visibility to your event, but also increase attendance or participation in your event. Now, at the beginning of today's webinar, I mentioned the importance of setting objectives. Where possible, set actual measurable objectives. Put numbers to your objectives, and these goals could include metrics such as attendance. Have in mind how many people you want to attend your event, and really reach towards that goal. Have in mind the amount of media impressions that you want to create through your event. Also, website traffic. Events are often a great way to build website traffic. I mentioned online registration. If you build your event so that people have to go online to register, it's a great way to build website traffic, but also to collect information from people. Which brings me to the next point, which is have a goal for how many people you want to have opt into your email database for future communications. With some events, as I mentioned, you are trying to encourage certain actions. And so if you are trying to encourage certain actions, such as the example that I shared earlier about people cleaning out their medicine cabinets of expired medications, have a way to measure that. In that particular case, we actually measured it in pounds of medications that were donated to the event. Now, if you're hiring and that's part of your event is generating applications to your company, then measure that. How many applications do you want to try to promote or generate through your special event activities? If it's an annual event, you should try to improve your performance year over year. Often, you get an event that you like and you bring it back the next year, and it's good to take a look at what you should you should maybe revise about the event. One of the things that we've used in our practice is surveys or evaluations. You can do these post-event with your attendees. Find out things about how they felt about the event, how they feel about the location of the event, how did they feel about the topics that were covered, and this will help you plan a more successful event in the future. Keep it short, keep it brief, but we have found that people are willing to give you their opinion, and it's very valuable to use this input to improve or tweak your event. Even if it's a one-time event, you can actually do a survey before the event. We just actually did one of these with one of our clients. They are considering doing an educational event, a conference, and we did a survey that was very helpful to identify the types of topics that their audience would be interested in. So these are, using surveys and evaluation tools either before or after the event can be very effective. Now, before we get to your questions, I wanted to spend just a couple minutes talking about how I've seen technology effectively used with events. Some examples of this include using QR codes on printed invitations. Again, the purpose here is to lead people back to your web presence. It might be leading them back to your web presence to register or whatever the case might be. Now, if you have a large crowd attending and you need to expedite the on-site registration process, you might consider using iPads for the on-site registration. In fact, I was at an event Monday where there were several hundred people in attendance, and before I could even hang my code up, one of the people working the event had her iPad, and she came up to me, asked for my name, and registered me within a matter of about 10 seconds. So she was floating among the crowd registering people, so that's an effective use of technology. You might even consider designing a smartphone app for your event. This can encourage attendees to engage with one another during the event. If you have a main stage at your event and you want to run contests or quizzes in real time with your audience, you can do so using text messaging, or you can even use private social networks such as Yammer to facilitate this type of on-site, real-time interaction with your audience. And of course, this tactic has been around for a long time. And in fact, Twitter really evolved out of a special event at South by Southwest was the first use of Twitter. And consider assigning a hashtag to your event. This will encourage attendees to tweet about the event and potentially reach people who aren't even in attendance. Thank everybody for participating in the event, and we will See you on future Albers webinars, we hope. Bye.
Thank you. Please stand by.